What's going on, everyone? Today, we're having a special episode of 40 and Fighting without John because he's lame as fuck and didn't want to come to CJI or ADCC. So I'm going to talk a little bit about both events and what's happened so far. So today is day 2 of ADCC. It's on Sunday. CJI has already been done and finished and happened and went down, and I guess let's talk about it. First of all, John probably weighs 235 if I was to take a guess. That boy's looking thick. But let's get into it. So CJI, pretty good event overall. You can tell that it was a bit rushed, that they didn't have the time to put into everything to make it the event that it can be, then I think that it will be. They've already announced they're going to do it next year, so maybe they're going to do it yearly instead of biannually like ADCC. But overall, it was a pretty good event. Something that hurts me to say, but we probably don't need a plus 80 bracket. That shit was pretty fucking boring, except for when Nicky Rod was fighting. Nicky Rod was probably the most exciting person in that plus 80. It was super boring. The first day of CJI was like 9.5 hours. We didn't even make it all the way. We made it to about maybe 9 o'clock on Friday, and we tapped out. We got home back to the hotel probably. There were still 5 or 6 matches left. The minus 80, like the best divisions we left during because the plus 80 was so boring. It was just dudes fucking hand fighting and slap wrestling until someone got pushed down or whatever. Nobody in the plus 80 really utilized the wall like I think they should have to get more takedowns and force more action. It was just the plus 80 division was pretty weird. There was some good fights, but pretty boring unless it was Nicky Rod. Philippe Andrew had a fucking amazing run. Ended up losing in the finals, but he was probably the best jiu-jitsu practitioner in the plus 80, and he was my dark horse to win. And man, he got pretty far. He did pretty well, but fucking Nicky Rod's on the level now. That fool's a legit black belt. He's doing the damn thing. I think he got all submissions in all four of his matches, and just made it look easy. At the end of the tournament, he called out Gordon Ryan, and I think right now he beats Gordon. Gordon looked really bad yesterday in the super fight at ADCC. I think Nicky Rod's that dude right now. He's the one to beat. He's kind of surpassed Gordon. Probably not in fame, but maybe in the ability to win. He's not as good as Gordon at jiu-jitsu, but the ability to win looks like it's there. So I think he's got it. I think he's got it down. The minus 80 division was banging. I wish I couldn't find the brackets in front of me to look at for the minus 80, but man, it was probably one of the most exciting brackets I've ever seen in jiu-jitsu. Every match was pretty much a scrap. The dude who was the dark horse of the division made it to the final, Levi Jones-Leary. Against Cade Rutolo, and man, that fight was a pretty good show of technical ability, not super fun. Levi just sat down the whole time and Cade tried to pass. Cade won a super close decision, I thought. It was cool jiu-jitsu, but the most exciting fight the whole time was Cade versus Andrew Tackett. Cade and Andrew Tackett may have been the best grappling match of all time. That shit was wild. 15 minutes of two young kids who are hungry, who want to win, getting after it. They were standing up, hand fighting, going to the ground, jumping shit, flying things, fucking jumping off the wall. It went back and forth, and that was a really close decision. I think that could have went either way. Probably because my bias towards the Rutolos, I think Cade won, but man, it was a really close fight. Yeah, man, it was such a good fight. If you guys didn't see that, you got to go back on YouTube and watch that fight. It was so good. Andrew had Cade in real trouble, and if you weren't following the Who's Next thing they did a couple years ago on Flow Grappling, you might not know who Andrew is. Andrew's been coming up on the scene pretty quietly, but he's known, but he's not like a big name yet. But he is that dude. That kid's going to be a problem for a long time. He's going to be the one. He's probably going to be one of the better lighter weight grapplers in the world. The kid's 21. I'm pretty sure that his parents allowed him to not go to school so he could grapple full time, which is crazy. Like, these kids that are grappling full time now are just on another level. I mean, he's out of school. He's 21 now, but at that time, I think he's been out of school since he was like in middle school and just grappling full time. So it's insane the quality of jiu-jitsu these guys had, the things they jumped on, the positions they got into. It's amazing. I wish that I could do jiu-jitsu that way. I can't, but I'd like to try. So, yeah. I'm going to try to keep this one pretty short because I lost my voice at ADCC actually on Saturday. So I'll jump over to day one of ADCC and what we saw. First of all, if you want to compare the two, ADCC is by far a better show. It doesn't even compare. CJI was almost like backyard wrestling compared to the quality of ADCC. And CJI was actually in the venue that ADCC was in 2022. It's just another level. So is it worth it for ADCC to spend all this extra money to go to the T-Mobile instead of paying the athletes? Probably not. The athletes should get paid. They should make a majority of the money that's going to the show. But for a spectator's standpoint, man, the T-Mobile is so much better. It's so much more comfortable. It's just a better venue. The sound was better. ADCC was run better. I personally think this. So if you're watching ADCC and CJI, I don't know if you noticed, but during CJI there was no music during the fights. In ADCC there is. They have a DJ playing the whole time. In the quiet section, between the fights at CJI, they had music, but not during the fights. And I think that was because CJI was streamed free on YouTube, and they would have got copywritten striked and probably taken down. ADCC is behind a paywall, so they didn't. I don't think they really had a chance of getting taken down, and maybe they had a little bit better audio skills and were able to take the music out while they were streaming on YouTube yesterday. But yeah, jumping back to CJI, the biggest upset probably in total was I don't even know his name, the dude that subbed Victor Hugo in 30 seconds. The shit was insane. I actually missed that fight. I was walking around down in the concourse looking for a water or something, and I ran into the McDojo Life dude, and he was super cool. He kind of ear bait me. He punched me a little bit, and then I missed that Victor Hugo fight. It was a total bummer, but I saw the replays. I saw like right when Victor was standing up, and that was that's got to be a lesson to everyone, not to be over prepared. Victor Hugo was so confident he was going to win that tournament. He wasn't afraid when dude jumped on his leg. He was like, go ahead and grab that shit. You're not going to get anything. Dude jumped on his leg, snapped both legs up, and then got with the outside heel hook while the other leg was trapped. That shit, it was super fast, super quick. Obviously, I would assume he hurt Victor because Victor tapped super quick and he looked like he was in a lot of pain. But let's go back to ADCC on Saturday. So we kind of showed up in kind of like around 12 o'clock. We missed some of the fights in the beginning, and we left early. But the fight that I was there for, Michael Pixley versus Marigali, that has to be the biggest upset of the year. Not even both tournaments of the year. That may be the biggest upset in grappling history ever, besides when Eddie beat Hoyler. Man, that fight, that's how I lost my voice. So I think most eyes were on that match. And, let's go back a little bit further. If you go back a little bit further and you follow Marigali, that fool's been talking shit about double golding for the last 2 years. And this week, he was out at the lake, I believe Lake Mead here in Las Vegas or outside of Las Vegas, and was saying that he was celebrating his double gold. It already happened. And so I noticed a couple people left comments like, oh, we didn't notice ADCC happened already. And he was like, no, I see the future. We live in the future. Gordon and I double gold. Well, fucking, how did that turn out for him? So his first match, he dominated, got the dude in the Kimura, looked super bored. I think he was like blowing kisses at the camera. The second fight, you got the dog, Michael Pixley, purple belt, Purple belt power right there. Him and Marigali were scrapping. Within the first minute or two, Pixley threw Marigali like it was insane. Like Marigali's feet were over Pixley's head, like up in the air, slammed him on the ground. And I think he was so surprised how easy and how hard he threw him. He didn't capitalize on it, and Marigali stood back up. And that was probably the mistake that Marigali made. Marigali should have tried to stay down and fought Pixley, because Pixley's not the best jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's a sick wrestler, sick on the feet. He's got a crazy darce, but as far as like jiu-jitsu tools, Marigali should have had him beat. And then they stood back up, hand fought a little bit more. I think maybe they shot for a couple more takedowns. And then Pixley hit him with the same, I think it's a Harai Goshi. Or some fucking, it's like Uchimata, but across the body. I think it's a Dayashi Harai or fucking Harai Goshi, something like that. Hit Marigali with this throw, and the crowd erupted. As soon as he hit the throw, Marigali did number one thing you don't do. He posts out. When you're getting Uchimata slow and nogi, you can post because you can put your hand down, you can start to work your hips and stuff, but he posted all the way out in the middle of a throw. Hit the ground at a crazy angle, and I think everyone said he blew his shoulder out was the final result. Blew his shoulder. Pixley jumped on this darce, sank it in, and Marigali tapped in like 5 seconds or less, and the place went fucking wild. It was like if someone hit a grand slam in the World Series. It went fucking buck wild. That's how I lost my voice. I think Pixley has got to be the guy to win that division now. He's on such a high. That dude is so mean. He is so fucking aggressive that he's probably going to win. I'm going to pull up the brackets real quick and talk about what I can remember, and then give you some quick predictions. I don't want to keep you guys too long today. I'm sure the audio is not great. I couldn't find a cable to get my mic hookup, so we're just going old school gorilla style on the phone today. But I don't know a lot about the women, so I'll talk about the one I do want to see. Bia Mesquita is fighting Anna Vieira today, and Brianna St. Marie is fighting Helena Cravar. I think Cravar kind of smashes Brianna St. Marie. Brianna St. Marie's solid, but I mean, you just got to look at the history. Helena looks unstoppable. And then Bia probably beats Anna Vieira. Lady Goat, what are you going to say? But that fight, Helena and Bia, if Helena beats Bia, that changes female jiu-jitsu, women's jiu-jitsu. Helena is 16 years old, I believe. I think still a blue belt. If she beats the Lady Goat, who is, just out of her prime, but if she beats Bia, it's over. There's nobody that can beat her. She becomes probably the best female jiu-jitsu practitioner of all time. She's probably on that path already, but she gets there now as a 16-year-old, which is insane. We got minus 99 men. It ends up being Kainan Dwarch versus Cyborg and Pixley versus Lovato Jr. Those four people should tell you how much impact CJI had. There's no way that the minus 99 division ends up with Kainan Dwarch, who's probably the favorite, who's the number one seed in the division, versus Cyborg, who's 43 years old. He kind of walked through everybody yesterday. I think one of them he won in overtime or a decision, but Cyborg should not have been there. Cyborg got knocked out in the first round ADCC 2 years ago when he was younger. Probably, I don't know if he was in better shape. Boy, it looks like he's on all the Mexican supplements right now, but Cyborg should not be in the finals, right? Shouldn't be happening. Cyborg versus Kainan Dwarch, I would think Kainan smashes him. Then you got the other side of the bracket, you got Michael Pixley, a fucking purple belt. Granted, probably the best purple belt in the world. Should be a black belt. Savage versus Lovato. Again, Lovato's the man. Lovato's been the man for 20 years. That should say something. There's no way Lovato should be in the finals. I think, again, 2 years ago, Lovato got taken out in the first round. I think by a young guy. So this bracket should not be this way. Kainan deserves to be there. He's going to be there probably no matter what. But Pixley and Lovato and a purple belt, 43-year-old Lovato or 40-year-old Lovato, 43-year-old Cyborg, that's a crazy bracket for the finals. I think Pixley beats Lovato pretty easily, unless Lovato decides to sit, which would be smart. If Lovato sits, he's got a good chance because Pixley doesn't have the level of jiu-jitsu that Lovato has. But in general, I would think Pixley wins versus Kynan. Fuck, Pixley and Kynan's going to be savage. Kynan better not fucking think he can wrestle and stand up. Kynan better sit and pull some shit to beat Pixley. Otherwise, you got Pixley as the minus 99 champion. No problem. Plus 65 for the women. Amy Campo versus Natalie De Jesus and Rafaela Hidez versus Kendall Rusing. I don't know the other girls too much. I've seen Amy Campo. She's pretty good. She's a bigger chick for the plus 65. I think Kendall smashes all of them, and that's it. Kendall's champion there. She looked really good yesterday. Kind of had no problems beating the girl that she beat, which was Maria Ruffalo. I'm not familiar with her, but she kind of smashed her. Let's see. I don't know the minus 55 yet. I would think it's Bianca Basilio versus Anna Rodriguez, and Adele Fenorio versus Jasmine Hocha. I didn't see those fights with Jasmine, but based on the past, she's probably got that side of the bracket, and you think A-Rod's pretty good. I'm not super familiar with Bianca Basilio, but I'd like to see A-Rod and Jasmine in that one, and hopefully Jasmine gets beat because she talks too much shit. See, unlike me, where I talk good shit, she's out there just talking bullshit. Basic bitch knee cut. I wonder how that worked out for her. Then you got minus 77 for the men. Yumika Goval versus PJ Barch, and Wagner Hocha versus Elijah Dorsey. Again, you can see the impact that CJI had here. Wagner should not be in the finals. I don't know Jeremy Skinner well. Wagner beat him. And he beat Jonathan Gracie. Jonathan Gracie's a good fighter. I mean, top level. He's a high-level athlete. What is Wagner doing to beat these guys? I don't know what it is, but there should have been some more talent in that division. But that under 80 in CJI really fucking... See, under 80 CJI was the best bracket in the world. When I get back with John next week, we'll talk about these brackets more in depth. But, man, it was... Yeah, you can see Wagner shouldn't be in the semis. Probably Elijah beats him, would be my guess. Then PJ and Mika. How do you stop Mika? And PJ's solid, very good grappler. Beats most people. Does he beat Mika? Probably not. For fun, you would hope that it's Wagner versus Mika, and Mika smashes his former professor. I don't. If you look back a couple years ago, Mika fought under Fight Sports, which Wagner is a part of. He's a black belt under Cyborg, and Wagner's the number 2 dude there. So that'd be a cool one to see Wagner versus Mika. Mika wins this division. I think it's set in stone. Mika wins. Minus 66 for the men. Again, like Josh Cisneros, I'm not familiar with him. And then you got Baby Shark versus Josh Cisneros. You would think Baby Shark wins this. Dogo Hayes. I don't think it's an issue. I think he smashes Josh Cisneros. And then you got Owen Jones versus Diego Pato on the other side. Hopefully Pato wins this one. I mean, he's looked incredible in these matchups so far. Destroyed Krellenstein, destroyed Andy Williams. We're trying to see Baby Shark versus Pato. This might be the best small man fight of all time. I think Pato takes it. We're team Year of the Duck around here. And then I hope he talks that shit and gets fucking Dogo to put a fucking gi on and fucks him up in the gi too. But I think I got Pato in that one. Baby Shark's solid, but we got to go Pato on that. Now you got plus 99. Again, the disruption that CJI had on ADCC. You end up with Luke Griffith, a purple belt, versus Big Dan Monticello, a purple belt on one side. The other side of the bracket, Felipe Pena, solid. He was the man 8 years ago. I don't think he's really won since then. He won some stuff recently, but he hasn't really won any major fights. Versus Josh Saunders, who's got his black belt in 5 years. Josh is big. He doesn't have the jiu-jitsu that Felipe has. You would think unless Josh can just beat the fuck out of him, like physically, you think Felipe wins that side. And then Luke Griffin and Big Dan's probably a toss-up. You probably have to go Big Dan. He seems more aggressive than Luke. They're teammates, both out of New Wave. But I would like to see Big Dan versus Philippe, probably for the best display of jiu-jitsu on that side. That's probably who I think. I think Big Dan beats Luke, and Josh loses to Philippe. Then you got the minus 88. This one didn't seem like it was super affected, but you got Giancarlo versus Philippe Costa. I didn't watch too many of their fights. I'm not super familiar with Philippe, but Giancarlo has the best ADCC run of all time. I think the only person to ever win trials and then win the tournament in 2022. So you got to go Giancarlo on that side. Plus he teaches at Gracie Maita, so he's almost a teammate, so we got to go for him. And then you got J-Rod versus Chris Wojcik. J-Rod looks unstoppable. He's aggressive. He's winning. I want to see J-Rod versus Giancarlo. You would think that Giancarlo beats J-Rod, but man, that would be an upset if J-Rod could win this one and beat Giancarlo. That would be a very big upset. I think that's kind of it for all the brackets. But if you're thinking ADCC versus CJI, ADCC is by far a better show. The quality of the show. The care they took around the arena, in the arena, the arena itself is better. It's just a better produced show. I think CJI will get there if they decide they keep doing it in maybe the third or fourth year. But I like the fact that they're giving the money to the athletes instead of putting it to the venue. I think it was kind of a joke, but there was fireworks, like a fireworks show during CJI for the later matches. But they were like fucking Walmart fireworks, I think. I think it was on purpose. I think they made them look shitty on purpose to say, look we just put fireworks up there and they're shitty. They probably cost $500, And then the same thing during the finals, they had like the smoke machines, like pouring out smoke like on top. And again, it was super corny. Like it was cool, but it was corny. But I think it was corny on purpose. Craig's the man. Permanent disruptor. I think they continue to do CJI. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. They add brackets. And then it becomes a real show. The pit is fucking awesome. No one really utilized it. I think they should make the pit a little bit smaller and maybe add 2 of them because there was so much time between the matches is what dragged it on. Like the day one of the event took 9 hours or 9.5 hours. It was insane. Everybody was leaving because it was just too much. Thomas and Mack is a college basketball place, had plastic seats. It was pretty uncomfortable the whole time versus ADCC is super plush, modern arena, the home of the UFC, plush seats. The seats we got. Shout out to Big Bob out there, Bob the Builder. It has a private bar. Like you still had to pay, but the section had a private bar. I mean, amazing seats, amazing view, and just overall ADCC is a better run event. But for 3 months, CJI fucking kind of had it going on. It was fun. It was like the little scrappy little brother out there doing things. So. Yeah, I don't really have much to say. My voice is gone. And when I get back with John, I'll talk about the fight I had 2 weeks ago. More about this fight in depth, about these 2 fights. And yeah, thanks for listening. Go like, subscribe, all that shit. The new Black Path is out. And a lot of you motherfuckers are asking about shirts that are now on the website. Open your wallet, break the motherfucker off. Shit, dude, I'm broke. This place is expensive, dog. God damn. Well, that's all I got. Thanks.